Hello, my name is Victoria. This video is made to alert the Professional Association of Diving Instructors of the unprofessional behavior of a certain diving instructor. It is also made as a reference for people who aspire to earn the Advanced Open Water Diver Certificate in the future and things that you might want to be aware of when choosing a diving instructor. There are three major offenses that I think this unprofessional diving instructor has executed. The first thing is that he does not take the initiative to give constructive advice when he points out that students did something wrong. He simply states the fact that students did something wrong, but does not give any advice on it. The second is that he does not have good time planning and he does not know the difference between what's mandatory and what's not. The third is that he does not have any respect for marine life and proceeded to provoke a pufferfish just for the fun of it. I will get into further details on all three items in this video. When I say that this instructor does not take the initiative to give constructive advice, I'm talking about the incident in our last dive. Over the 5 dives that we took to earn the Advanced Open Water Diver Certificate, I only had one chance to do the square navigation test, whereas one of the other students got 2 chances to have a go at it. During the last dive, which is when I took the square navigation exam, I ended up about 3 to 4 feet away from where I started. I could still visually see where I started at. So I think it would be a stretch to say that I got the whole direction wrong. I was asked to kick 64 times per line on the square. After I failed the square navigation exam, there was actually some time left during that dive. However, this instructor decided to use that remaining time to let the other 3 students practice inflating the surface signal buoy. The surface signal buoy inflation is not a mandatory part of the Advanced Open Water Diver Certificate course. However, this instructor chose to use that time on this item that was not a mandatory item to complete and did not use that remaining time to let me take the square navigation again, which was a mandatory part of this course. Through these 2 incidents, I think it speaks very well for why this instructor cannot tell what's mandatory from what's not, and he does not have good time planning. He also does not care about the distress and anxiety and frustration his students faces because he failed to give constructive advice. When we went on land, he also only said, "You failed the square navigation test." He didn't say anything else on what I did wrong. He also did not address the fact that I was so frustrated and so anxious at the time. I was literally crying in front of him because I was very anxious that I needed to take the test again, and I was also very lost as to what I did wrong. I think I followed the compass perfectly, and I ended up about 3 to 4 feet away from where I started, and I really did not, I was at a loss of what went wrong in the process. So at that point, I was clearly very frustrated and very concerned and very fearful of what was to come. Like, I didn't know how I could improve the situation. And this diving instructor did not address any of those emotions, although in the diving instructor page, it clearly says that a diving instructor has the obligation to address a student's negative emotions incurred in the process of learning to be a diver. So he did not address my fears and concerns, nor did he take the initiative to give constructive advice. After a full day of the incident, when I've calmed down, I took the initiative to ask the diving shop to ask this instructor what went wrong in the process of my square navigation. It was only then that he said the second turn I took was supposed to be 30 degrees, and I took it as a 6C degree. So first of all, we don't know whether it's an angle situation or if it's due to the current that I did not end up exactly in the same spot that I started. And if it was the second turn that I took wrong, shouldn't he have already pointed that out on the spot in the water when I was doing something wrong? Shouldn't he have pointed it out right on the spot? It wasn't the last turn that I took wrong. It was the second turn. It was something that happened very early in the process of my square navigation. However, he chose to watch and let me continue this error, which meant if he has stopped me at the second turn, maybe I could have redone it on the spot and I could have passed the exam, because for all the other 3 turns, including the starting point and the 2 other 90-degree turns, I did perfectly according to his words, and I have a screenshot here as proof. And after we boarded land, he also did not tell me what I did wrong. It wasn't until I asked him initially that he told me. So I think through this behavior, this instructor is very not empathetic toward his students. He also does not care about his students' improvement, and I think his behavior really speaks for his mindset and his intentions. And finally, as for not respecting marine life, during our night dive, he asked the other students what they wanted to see, and one of them said that she wanted to see an angry pufferfish. So during our dive, we encountered a pufferfish, and this diving instructor proceeded to probe the pufferfish with his flashlight until the pufferfish was bloated and angry and this ball of spiky pufferfish state and was floating around. And I think this also speaks for the fact that this diving instructor is hazardous to the ocean environment and really should not be a professional diving instructor. In conclusion, I think the Professional Association of Diving Instructors should see the situation and regard it very seriously for people who want to earn the Advanced Open Water Diver Certificate. I really think you should choose an instructor who has good reputation, who has been in the business for years, and is known to care for his or her students, who is known to be able to point out what is wrong on the spot, and respects marine life to ensure that everybody has a good experience and knows what they did wrong on the spot and becomes successful advanced open water divers. So thank you for listening to my side of the story, and I hope everybody has a safe dive. Thank you.